My dad's been doing a bunch of work to this AMC Hornet. So I edited video. He was taking a bunch of it on his own, and then I was over there to help him a couple of times over the last probably 6 weeks or so. A lot of different things happened. I made 2 different videos. One of them is more focused on fuel injection and air conditioning. The other video is more focused on drivetrain, so transmission and rear axle. So there are a little like some overlap stuff on this, but some good content. I thought it was pretty neat. Dad has a lot of good details on what he found with this AMC motor, crossing a lot of the old 70s stuff over to a lot of the newer 4-liter Jeep stuff. So he's got some good information on what intakes work with what blocks and things like that. So it's different car content, which is basically what this channel is about, is sort of motorsports and things that are related to it, like building the shop and that. Anyways, let's get to it. All right, 1974, whatever this thing is, AMC Hornet. This is the factory 3-speed auto trans that worked pretty much just fine. Dad wanted to change it because that's what we do. Here's the factory cross member. And what we did is we put a, what is this, a 300 R4?
204R.
204R, I was so close. But we put that in there, and now we gotta figure out how to make the cross member work with the trans. So that's what we're gonna do right meow.
Be happy I have a torque wrench, man.
I don't see, I mean, there is just random tools laying around. It looks pretty much like my shop.
I spent $1 on these 2 nuts and we didn't use them.
Like the low torque
one? It is
one?
low, but you can smell the motor though.
But this thing's like 100 years old. This is the first cordless drill that was ever made. It was so close to cream.
Oh, was it?
Creaming into that thing. Wow. That's gonna look risky on camera. Maybe we'll put it further back here. Where you gotta go? Up? Looks like you need to go up.
It's got to go back.
Yeah, but it also needs to go up.
Yeah, it still needs to go up.
Still?
That might be too much.
You want me to drop it?
Take it down a little, man, real slow. Just got it.
Huh. Where's motor mount bolts for this side? Well, what is it hitting? It's hitting something underneath the car. We didn't nail the camera. The camera's down here surviving still.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Oh, it's the dipstick is hitting the tunnel.
The trans dipstick?
Yeah.
So what has to happen with that shit?
We just need to ignore it.
Here, how about you wrestle around on it and I'll just try and pop it through there. Got it. Nailed it.
Oh. I hate when it's like too tight to your fingers, but yeah, not quite enough to get engage the ratchet.
You got a paint pen?
But how are you gonna get the trans mount on the back?
I have an idea. We gotta cut that.
All right, Dad, you happy with that?
Well, you're saying that's gonna clear, so.
I don't know if that's gonna clear.
Alright, so stock cross member. We cut it right here to clearance. The pan of the trans, so that is like right here. It was hitting this. So what my plan is that these two bolts hopefully line up right here. Let's mock it up and see. Alright, get you in here where you can see the modified cross member. So that's where we cut it. So it clears the pan. Actually works pretty good. Now you should be able to service it without taking the cross member out. So that's good news. And then I left these bars in here. It had a solid plate all the way across. Left those in there just for some support. I don't know that they're necessarily needed, but... And now it's looking like right here and right there is where the bolts go through. See what our height looks like and then mark it, drop this back down, and drill some holes. That's our current plan. And there's not a lot of room down here, see?
Oh, they're not all parked.
You sure? Oh, getting crazy with the GoPro here. Yeah, we're just sitting here waiting, you know, hanging out under the car, just with the grease in our hair and the birds chirping outside. It's good.
We're gonna go 2 from the end.
I'll see if that one fits in there before you start the other one. You happy?
Yep.
Cool.
Flip that over and we can deburr it if we need to. We definitely need to.
Let go of the cherry picker. I mean, go slow because I'm still under here. I don't want to die, but I want to just let it sit all the way down and then see what clearance we have without even bolting it. And it's not hitting. I needed a short one. You gave me a long one.
That's the only one I have.
What the hell? What are we doing here?
Thought you were at Harbor Freight the other
What are we
day.
doing here, Harry?
Is that the right size? I was.
Take your list with you next time. Buy some short socks.
Fit number 5, 4.
I think it's only test fit number 3.
You've had this thing on there more than 3 times. Oh, we put it in that back.
God damn it, Mike.
What are you doing over there? You had one job. We don't have bolts long enough, right? I mean, I could put them in there and then they'll get stuck. Or you know, we can do that. That's fine. Can you push the trans towards the driver, Mike?
There you go.
Right there. All right, test fit number 497. Commencing. Let me line these up first.
Okay.
And then it seemed like that worked out last time, sort of. It's all kind of like sort of-ish.
I like that ish part.
We can just sort of-ish.
Okay.
Oh, because we have to have a drive shaft in there. Unless you don't want to drive it.
Unless I don't want
We don't have to have a drive shaft in there, I suppose.
This thing, you might have to rebush this because there's a lot of play. Because it's just puking oil out of it. They'll have some play in it, but you like if you can move it enough.
I wouldn't think.
If you can move it enough that oil comes out of it, that's usually not a good sign.
We got to do the shift linkage stuff, huh?
So this doohickey bolts in there, and this goes here-ish.
Lift that up more.
This,
Yeah.
like so.
It looks like it needs to be like there to be level.
Okay.
You ready for those to fall on your eye hole?
Yeah, pretty much.
And then I'm going to scoot over to where you're at because it looks really comfortable over here. Holy cow, I'm not that narrow.
All right, don't go gorilla on it because if it's not right, I don't want it to bend this.
See, right now it's showing it's in park. And now I'm moving towards reverse.
No, stop.
Binding.
Yeah, you're hitting the belt housing. What's your plan here?
I want to use the factory linkage there.
Okay,
I'm in park. And now I'm moving towards reverse.
Nope, stop. Don't go any further than that because you're bending stuff.
Hold on. You're getting crazy and things are falling apart down here.
This floor jack as a pillow is great.
Okay, here I am with Buddy and his engine transmission. I figured I'd do that. I forgot to video, but I've got the stuff for the torque converter lock circuit set up. There's a speedometer cable, got the shifter doohickey on here. Spent the whole afternoon re-engineering this cover plate for this transmission dust cover to make the Chevy fit on the AMC. I also got my transmission lines pre-bent. I don't have them touching anything. They're not necessarily the prettiest, but it'll serve the purpose. So I've got the transmission lines tightened on in there because it's kind of tight down in there when you get it in. Same reason I've got the transmission dipstick up here. Decided to go with a flexible one so I can just put it wherever. Got the low car TV cable set up on there and set in. Everything is bolted on and good. Starters on because I had to do a little, like I say, fabrication trying to get that to fit. And so it's all together, it's bolted on there now. Hope I can get to the bolt where I've got to put the motor mount in there when I get it in the car, but everything's together and ready to set in there. Okay, next little buddy project. He has 273 gears and an AMC Model 15 rear end in him, which you can't get many parts for, to change the gear ratio to go with the newer overdrive transmission. So here we have a new Ford 8.8-inch rear end out of a 1994 Ranger that is going to go under him. And this has 373 gears instead of 273, which I think is too far. So I'm just going to do the minimum I can to get this thing into the Hornet. The wheel lug patterns are the same, and then we'll run it, see how it works, then buy the right gears and get them put in. Well, alrighty folks, here's video one of the comparison of the Ford Ranger 8.8 rear end, which is up in front here, that I got from Pull and Pay, and the Model 15 axle back behind. I'm actually comparing the emergency brake bracket stuff and the holes that those go through. This is the Ford one here, and I just pulled this emergency brake thing through, and the diameter of this hole versus the diameter of the AMC hole are the same. So I left all of the AMC e-brake stuff on the car. There's a comparison of the Ford stuff, if I can get the camera to focus there, versus the AMC stuff. The AMC is a little shorter, may have to monkey with it, we'll see. But getting it in there, emergency brake is like day 2 type repair. And this is the Ford bracket for the e-brake, which I'll do, and the brakes on my rear end were destroyed, so all new stuff for that. And there is the axle sitting in there. I have decided to use the Ranger U-bolts on here on the axle. They fit because the AMC ones are a little too tight and they're a little short. So I'm using the Ranger ones, but they are originally a little too wide to fit the original AMC shock mount. So what I'm doing is just bending them down in the vise so that the U-bolts will fit the original perch and shock mount doohickeys, which is marvelous. So got all that going on, then I got to put the brakes on, and then we got to figure out our pinion angle. It's in there, the wheels bolt on, everything is beautiful.
This is what an 8.8 out of a Ranger looks like underneath AMC Hornet. And Dad learned that if you don't weld the perches on the axle, that the axle doesn't stay put. So we're gonna weld some perches.
Now I want to pick it up, take the jack stands out, set it on the ground, see what the angle is. So now it's showing that I have 5 degrees down tilt. I have a little bit of an angle there.
Is that what you want?
It's probably about what I want. Because if you look at the angle up in the front,
Well, what is the front angle?
actually the angle's about 3 degrees up front. But you got to figure when you accelerate, this is going to want to twist up, which I learned that if you don't have it welded on, it'll twist up about 3 inches.
Mm-hmm. So I'm ready with the jack. You want me to just put it underneath this nice clean rocker over here?
Please don't. There's already a dent in it from somebody else.
I can open the door and put it underneath the door.
I don't need that either. I got that weld there, and I got this weld here.
That one's on the inside of the perch, looks like a caterpillar. Okay, now we gotta go do burnouts.
I tried that yesterday and the axle spun up on me.
We could do some 3,000 RPM neutral drops, test out your transmission. That's what I think. I was gonna say, this thing's really quiet. Well, you broke it.
We didn't do that.
You broke it. Okay. All right, what has happened to this car in like the last 6 weeks?
Yeah, since the beginning of June, the end of May.
Maybe what would be easier to ask is what has not happened to this car.
Yeah, well, he got air conditioning put back in him.
This is how we verify that it works. Okay, then what else? We did fuel injection,
the
Holly Sniper, hiding. And then
the transmission, the only giveaway is if you look back there, you can see the 5-inch, 8-inch steel plate.
and the adapter plate.
Yeah, and the Chevy transmission, 200 R4. And so it's a 4-speed overdrive transmission, so he now has an overdrive. of 0.67. So I retained all of the
and all the shift linkage stuff.
all the factory shift linkage except for the bottom bar. There's still some work to be done on that. And then so inside the car it still looks factory, even though it's got the overdrive. But and then the last thing, because he had 273 rear end gears in him,
Is we put an 8.8 out of a Ranger in it. Let's see.
and
You can see better. There it is. There's 8.8 stuff happening.
the lug pattern is the same. Those are the AMC wheels on the Ranger rear end.
Yeah, so your bolt's right on.
Yeah, the center hub is a little smaller than the AMC, so I actually went to 13/16 lug nuts to make sure the wheel stays on there.
There we go. There's our rundown of stuff that we did, and now we're gonna go do burnouts. Are we gonna do burnouts?
Right.
We're not gonna do burnouts. We're gonna go test drive it though,
But he doesn't.
and test out the AC.
But he doesn't do burnouts.
How much horsepower does this thing have?
110.
Holy smokes!
If with the rear end change, we went from 273 rear end ratio to a 373 rear end ratio, which is pretty significant.
But now you have overdrive. You could just completely changed everything.
Let's just come to a complete stop and do a acceleration to 40 and see what happens.
That's the same gear still.
Yeah,
That's got to be second gear. Is your speedo accurate?
just hit third. I don't know. You know, we should get out the phone with
Let's see
who knows how
if the
fast.
speedo is accurate.
I'm doubting it.
So currently, what does your speedo say we're doing?
55.
We are doing 42.
Okay, a little off there.
So maybe we just leave it at that, because then you think you're driving a rocket ship. 13 miles an hour off. Fast. So then at this stop sign, come to a complete stop and put it all the way in first. And then do the same thing. Take off again, just same throttle that you were.
Well, I can, there's neutral. And here's drive.
So then that should be first.
Theoretically.
Yeah, see, that
Yeah,
feels
that's
way
first.
lower. So
Yeah,
it
that's
was
first.
stuck in second
There, it
when we
hit
took off.
second.
Why did it not downshift to first?
I don't know.
Because that's second, and then now we're gonna nail the back of the semi truck.
The thing is I'd expect the car when I let off on it to hit third gear. See, but it's not. See, and then if I hit this, now it downshifted.
Well, then was it in third
Was it
gear?
in third gear?
Yeah, that's got to be third gear
It
then.
feels like third gear.
So then, will it go to overdrive? Have you ever got it to go to overdrive yet?
I have on the highway. When we get out on the frontage road, we get out to where we go a little faster, we'll try it. But that's
We're going
what-
on the highway. We get up to 80. Well, your speedo is going to be pinned at 120 when we're actually doing 80.
Yeah. This truck's probably gonna turn
The
right.
freaking AC works though. Look at, that's down to 50 degrees. That thing's working. We could probably roll the window up. We don't need the windows down if we got AC going.
So that's first. Second.
Ooh, it barked the tires. I knew we were gonna do a burnout.
So it's hanging on to second longer than I like.
How many miles do you have on this configuration?
12.
Okay,
if
well
I'm
then
lucky.
maybe we need to put some more miles on it before we start jumping to conclusions.
Okay, here we go. Well, that's second. We're going for the interstate here. We're going. So this is second. Oh, by the way, I did check the rear end to make sure there was at least some grease in there, and it does have some.
Oh, that's good.
Because I was pretty impressed. I plugged all the holes and nothing leaked while I was working on it.
That's third.
That's third.
And we're doing 45,
No, we're doing 65. Now we're doing 70.
50, 55. There you go. There's
Fourth.
overdrive. That's pretty good. Overdrive in 55 at 55-ish.
I might not even have to change the gears in.
That's why I said you just need to drive it just to see how it feels and work out all of the kinks on everything. I put it like 1,000 miles or a couple thousand miles before you change something else. You already changed everything.
What the hell's that? RPM and 80 miles an hour now.
I mean, you're really going to be racking up the miles on the odometer at this rate.
Smoking in here.
Well, since it started making that noise on the highway, go on the side streets and see if we can figure out when that's happening and identify what the hell it is. So it made that noise when you let off.
Yeah.
Like, and your AC's cranking, it's all the way down to 48. Or at least right at the
So I'd say that's functioning.
Yeah. It's comfortable in here. You need some 5% tint.
How about some 35% tint?
I mean, you can do that too. But right now, we're just in a fishbowl. We're in a fishbowl right now. Is there a sticker over there that says "Drive defensively" on the dash?
Yes. Yeah. Not offensively. If you make it pull harder, it shifts later. But you always want that TV cable to have a load on it. You never want it to be starting with nothing.
Okay, test drive number 2. We adjusted the TV cable. Trying to get it to shift earlier. Dad doesn't like the hot rod feel, so. Yeah, crank that AC all the way to the max setting.
It is.
Okay, good. Maxing out on the AC. We might as well, we got it. We should be comfortable, right? Well, so far with the first shift, it feels exactly the same.
Yeah. No change.
So, whatever adjustment you made, you need to do more than that. Well, all right, let's get some lunch and then get back to our TV cable again. Okay, we adjusted the TV cable for the 3rd time. And we plugged in the
torque converter lockup.
Yeah, the torque converter lockup thing.
So either we'll blow a fuse, start a fire, or the torque converter will lock up.
So then if you want to lock up the torque converter, you're basically just give it power is all you're doing?
Yeah, you just give it power and it's supposed to lock up.
TV cable adjustment number 4. Hey, sit here. Don't put it back in park. Feel that?
Yeah.
That's that same vibration. So I don't think it's drivetrain related. Something's vibrating somewhere. Because that's the same thing that it was doing when you were kind of letting off.
Right.
So it's at least not drivetrain related as far as the drive shaft coming out.
Okay.
Because they ain't moving right now. I wonder if it's something with your exhaust just kind of shaking a little bit and transferring back into the car. I don't know. So we're just sitting here while Dad's out there adjusting the TV cable again, watching the coolant temp to see how high it goes up to. It was at 195 when we stopped. At 200 right now. You got one. Alright, we're trying to figure out what in the hell is rattling under here. There's something.
That's close. I don't know what the good news is. It doesn't look like the speedometer cable's gonna melt.
This line is hitting.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you can tell right there it's rubbing the hard line. Right now it's like 3/8 of an inch away, but you must have enough torque with your super high horsepower situation you're running here. I'm just looking for any signs of stuff that's rubbing against stuff. Like this right here at super high RPM, that could be something.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all right there.
I just drilled a hole in there and stuck the rod in there. That could be it right there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see anything else.
But if you just don't look at the oil leak, then it's fine. All right, there's our test drive. AC works, it shifts. Dad's gonna continue to mess with that until he's dead. We're at like TV cable adjustment number 93. The rear end gears feel fine. I don't think we have to change anything with that. And the brakes work, so that's good. And then our rattle It was just the shifter linkage stuff, but we're not worried about that. So there we go. There's all of our things that we did.